Amigas y amigos de Metalópolis, ¿cómo están? Qué gusto me da poder darles la bienvenida a un episodio sumamente especial en el cual nos está acompañando Mr. Marko, el líder de la banda Beherit, un acto finlandés de black metal muy reconocido en el underground, que va a estar con nosotros próximamente en el mes de mayo gracias a Eyescream Productions. Mr. Marko, welcome to Metalópolis Podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very, very good.
Beherit is about to debut live in Mexico and in Latin America in just a few weeks. How do you feel about playing live in this part of the world?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to come to Mexico and Latin America, and that's our first time.
Yeah. Yeah, so here in Mexico and in so many places around the world, Beherit is renowned on the black metal scene. Back in time when you start the band, did you feel that it will become such a big name?
No, it was so different times in the late 80s and 90s compared to nowadays. It was so small underground.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And speaking of past times, can you tell us a little bit about those first years of Beherit? Where did you find the inspiration to start this band, and why do you choose the black metal path?
Well, we had the different projects even before the Beherit, but when we started the Beherit, I was
Hmm.
already in a tape trading scene and getting records from the Brazil and South America.
Hmm.
Of course, the Sarcophago was the number one in the early Beherit, and
Hmm.
then came the Canadian Blasphemy, Blood
Hmm.
onto Altar, and then it started to we started to find the Beherit original sound.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, you start Beherit at a very young age in 1989, and shortly after, you released your first demo, Seven Blasphemy. Do you remember the emotions or struggles you experienced as a young person starting a career in the music world at an age where you may not have the complete knowledge of how to grow a band, how to exchange material, record labels, and that kind of things?
Yeah, everything was very new, and you couldn't get the information. Like it was very hard when we get the for the seventh blasphemy, the four tracker.
Hmm.
We didn't know how to use that, so it was just to press record and okay, maybe it's recording now, and so
Yeah.
it was very experimental.
Yeah, yeah, that's try and error. And a year later, after Seven Blasphemy, came The Oath of Black Blood, a controversial release because it is a combination of two works and the label at that time promoted as your first official full length. What are your feelings about this record that is a milestone in the Herit's career?
No, of course, in that time, I was very angry because they didn't ask anything. They just put the demo and the 7 EP together, and we, the band has very different plans so
Mhm.
it was, I was very angry and disappointed, but let's see that it's already 35 years ago, so
Yeah.
it's okay. I don't mind it anymore.
Okay, okay. And later came Drown in the Moon, your first actual full length, and a work that so many people praise. At that time, what was happening in Beherit, especially in the songwriting process? Because just a year later came your first ritual music material, House for One Age of 21st Century, with a very different sound from Drown in the Moon.
Yeah, there was a lot of changes. I moved from the Rovaniemi to Kuopio city in the
Mhm.
middle of Finland, and after drawing down the moon, I moved from Kuopio city to here in Helsinki.
Mhm.
So it was a different people in the band, and those electronic albums I made myself with the help from the studio. So there's many stories between those albums. What's
Yeah.
lots of things going on that time.
Okay, okay. And then we got Electric Doom Synthesis, another electronic work that also marks the end of the first Behavior chapter, since the band took a break in 1996. Why did you decide to put Behavior on hold? Was it maybe because of all the rush and pressure of the first productive years?
No, I was I was in a different process. I started to make more art, minimalism, ambient, like Suri Samani,
Hmm?
and so I didn't have time for the Beherit. It was not. It took many years when I was working in a home studio alone.
Yeah,
And then there came just the idea that, hey, it would be good to play a band with the band again after many years. And then we started to record the Engram. So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and because actually years later in 2007, Beherit returned to the music scene and shortly after released Engram in 2009, a piece of work that has a very heavy sound with a mix of black and death metal elements. And what inspired you to return to those musical roots on the black metal sound after so many years?
yeah, it was just like it was so nice to have a band again. And Engram it's probably something like the mix between the Oath of Black Blood and the Drawing Down the Moon. Lots of
Yeah, yeah,
similar elements, but the very different production. It
yeah.
was compared to that when the first albums and those was recorded for the analog tape, but
Mhm.
this time it was so different being in a studio where is Logic Audio and all these computers and so.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you can probably hear that if you compare the early Beherit sound to the Engram sound. So it's
Yeah, a more modern production, but with the same essence of the old Beherit.
yes.
And then we received Celebrate the Dead of 2012, a very nice EP with 2 long tracks. But around that time also came At the Devil Studio, a record with previously unreleased material and different versions of songs from your early days. How do you feel about that possibility of bringing back old songs so many years later?
Uh, that's just I didn't know it even that I had that tape. It was just sudden, what is this tape and this and it was supposed to be the the recordings for our real first album.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be, but then change the plans changed it because the Turbo Music put this Dot of Black Blood, but that was the raw version of the real first Beherit album. And actually, I have to say that the Celebrate the Dead EP is actually 2 demo tracks for the before the Engram album, which I said.
Okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, and also 2 of the most long Beherit songs on the metal way, and such an awesome tracks. And shortly after, you released Bardo Exist and WBRRR, 2 additional electronic music albums. Do you believe that after those 2 releases, there is any chance of get a new black metal album soon on the Beherit's career?
Yeah, of course. It's now we have a focus to our gigs at the live show and this coming tour we just put those. But after tour, I think we have some ideas to record new material because yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And talking about live shows, in recent times, we can also find 3 live albums. How do you decide to bring Beherit's live sounds to a record for the first time?
Probably there is a bootleg ones, but the only official live recording is this Live in Praha, which came in January this year. So
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
and it's sounding very good because I wanted to give the idea to people that even those are the old classic Beherit
Mhm.
songs, they are like in a new version, let's say. And so
Yeah.
it's more atmospheric compared to the original ones.
And speaking of live performance, we have already heard that Beherit has a wide variety of sounds in their career. How do you choose your set list to perform live?
Uh, I always try to make it fit the location. Usually,
Mhm.
even the same day when we do the sound check, I will look for the venue. Is it a small club or is it a big space area, warehouse or something, and I try to make the tracks and all those effects to fit to the time and space.
Okay, that's really nice. And for those of us who will be attending a Beherit concert for the first time, how could you describe the experience of seeing you live?
We do things pretty different way compared to some traditional band. Every Beherit gig will be a different because we don't have a strictly structured the riff and next riff. We do lots of improvisation on the live on stage, and so something 2 minutes long track, it could be 5 to 7 minutes or something. So it's lots of improvisation and yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So any shows has his own soul and no repeats on the next date and the next day and the next date. And as a musician, as an artist, do you think that there is something left to achieve in Beherit's career? And also, how do you personally perceive the legacy that you have left in music?
No, I'm very happy about this Beherit discography. As I said, there is so different kind of that Beherit is free to do whatever we wish. So I'm very happy about that. And I think that's my advice to all the new bands starting. Whatever you do, you play traditional black metal or modern death metal, whatever you do, if you do that from your heart and make it for the art, then you will succeed.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good advice. And just the last question, in the recent days with the internet era and all that kind of stuff, how do you, what would you say that is the best way that as a fans we can support our favorite bands?
You mean what? By fans?
Yeah. As a fans, how could we support our favorite bands? And nowadays in internet with all this kind of download the music, and it's more easy to get no official releases and that kind of things.
Yeah, I understand that. Of course, the buying the records and the merchandise, but I know that the postage nowadays it's crazy expensive to ship any records and the T-shirts to the different countries. But come to gig and support the band there in the local.
Of course. I am very grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation, Mr. Marko. Do you have any final message for Beherit fans in Latin America and around the world?
See you. Come to see guys there on the gig, and have a unique experience with the Beherit.
That's right. So I will see you at Ciudad de Mexico on May. Thank you very much, Mr. Marko. I'll see you on the show.
Thank you.